Hello and welcome to another video lesson with Mr. Roman. Today the lesson title is Area of a Circle. So here as an exercise we're going to draw a circle with a radius of 3 and the center at the origin of the circle. And then we're going to estimate the area of that circle. So let's start with the origin, and the origin is the center point right in the middle of the graph, and we're just going to put a dot there as the center of the circle. And then we know there's a radius of 3, so out in each direction, north, south, east, west, there are going to be 3 units out for the radius. So I'm going to put a point at each of the 4 points around the circle that represent the 3 radius. And then now I'm just going to draw the circle around that shape, and then obviously you can see that this is a circle. So remember that area is measured in square units, and it's basically the number of squares that fits inside of a shape. So if I were to count all these little boxes or squares inside of this circle, then that would tell me the area. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put one red square here. This is 1 square unit, and we're going to see how many of these will fit inside this box in this circle. So if I put another one, that'd be 2 square units. And then I'm going to fill in the rest with a rough number. And if I count these squares right now, I'm going to see that there's 12 on the bottom half of the circle, and there's 12 on the top half of the circle. But these are almost exact whole squares, right? So remember, we're estimating the area. So if there's 12 on the bottom and 12 on the top, that's a total of 24. And then you have these portions, which I'm going to do in blue here. You have these parts of a square here and here. We'll just say that's about 1. That's another set. That's about 2. This one's another set. That's about 3. And this one's another set here. It's about 4. So if I take the 24 red squares here that I counted, plus the 4 more blue squares that are kind of parts and pieces put together, then I would estimate the area of this circle to be about 28 squares, or in other words, 28 square units. Now, there is a formula that tells us how to find the exact area of this circle. And that formula is going to deal with area equals the pi times the radius of the circle squared. Okay? So, and radius goes from the center of the circle to the outer edge of the circle. So that's the distance radius that we're talking about. And when you use the order of operations in this formula, you're going to square the r first and then multiply it by the pi. So if I were to use that formula here in this example, I know that 3 is the radius. So I'm going to plug 3 in for r. And then we're going to start with 3 squared, which is 9. And then we're going to take 9 times pi, which is 28.27. So that lines up really closely with what I estimated this area of this circle to be. So we would say that the area of this circle is 28.27 square units. So let's see another example. And this one's on your notes, example 1a. It says, find the area of the circle with the given information and round to the nearest hundredths place. So that's the second decimal place. So here we see in the circle that the radius from the center to the edge is 6. So in our formula, pi times radius squared, we're going to substitute 6 for r. As you can see, I did here. And then again, using the order of operations, we're going to go 6 squared first, which is 36. And then we're going to multiply 36 times pi to give us 113.09. And the next decimal place tells us what to do with that 9. And so in this case, we're going to round it up, and we're going to say that this is 113.1 square units. And then letter C in example 1, also from your notes. Same directions, find the area of the circle with the given information and round to the nearest hundredths. But here we're given the diameter of the circle, which is all the way across, passing through the center. So if the diameter is 17, well, we know the radius is half of that. So using our formula, pi times r squared, we're going to say that r, the radius, is 8.5. So that's half of 17. And then if I square 8.5, I'm going to get 72.25. And then we're going to head and take 72.25 times pi, which is going to be 226.98. And so then we would say the area of this circle is 226.98 square units. Now, looking at example 2, letter A, it says find the radius of the given area. And then it says round to the nearest hundredths place or hundredth. So here we know that this is the area of the circle. It's 100 times pi, and it's meters squared. So there's square meters here. That's what that means. So knowing our formula is radius squared times pi, well, if that's the case, then we know that the radius squared portion has to be equal to 100. So let me draw that out here. So 100 replaces this r squared in our formula. And so when we look at that, we could just simply write that as an equation of r squared equals 100. Well, to solve that for r, then we're just going to square root each side. So square root of r squared, square root of 100, and that's going to tell me that r, the radius, is equal to 10 meters. Because remember, we're in meters squared here, so our measurement was originally in meters. And then looking at example 2b, same directions here. We're going to find the radius, and we're going to round to the nearest hundredth. So here we know that the area of this circle is 38.465 centimeters squared, or square centimeters is another way to say that. And then using our formula of radius squared times pi, we would replace the area in this formula with the 38.465. So we're going to replace A with 38.465. So now to solve this equation for r, we're going to start by dividing everything by pi. So we're undoing those operations of multiplying by pi. So we're going to divide both sides by pi. And what ends up happening is these two pi's will divide out to be 1. And then we're going to take 38.465 divided by pi, which is going to be 12.243. And then on the right side of this equation, you're still left with r squared. So r squared equals 12.243. Now, to solve this equation further, we will undo the squaring by square rooting both sides. And then if I take the square root of 12.243 and the square root of r squared, then I'm going to get r is equal to 3.498. And if I'm rounding to the nearest hundredths, I look at the 8 to tell me what to do with the 9, which means I'm going to round that up to 3.5 centimeters. And this concludes our video lesson.